Alrighty, addicts. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. I have known today's guest since 2015 when I first saw him perform at the Michigan Renaissance Festival with his band Pictus. He's also a member of the band Mother Grove, which I also highly recommend. Drunk at McCool's is playing in my head currently.
It's a good song.
It is. He is also the bard behind Storytime with Oengus. So today we have the one, the only, Oengus, or Brad. I don't know who he is. I don't think he knows who he is. It just
The answer to that question is yes.
Welcome to the show, you.
Yeah, very good. Human, earthling.
Thank you,
Well, we haven't
fellow
confirmed
human, for
that
joining
either.
us.
We have
That's
not
true.
confirmed that you're a human.
This is true. I do have a belly button somewhere.
Okay, so
Either
maybe you're
way,
human.
thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
I have known of you, at least, since 2015. I know that we have our yearly pictures with you guys in Hollygrove, except for last year and the year that wasn't. And as you already know, my daughter is your biggest fan. Absolute biggest fan. So for our viewers and our listeners who might not be as familiar with Pictus, can you give them the general rundown of what the band does and how you got into Ren Fair performing?
Sure. Pictus is the way to describe it is we're the music of everyone's ancestry, whether you're Scottish or not. The drums and the way we put them together, we wanted it to speak to people of all cultures. And we started, Pictus was actually supposed to just be a fun side project. John Holland, our bagpiper, Taliesin, he's a internationally award-winning piper. He has won Piper of the Day. He's won competitions and pipe band competitions, pipe majors. He's done it all. And he's a composer too. He writes all of our stuff. So we were actually in Mother Grove was doing a gig in Kansas City, Missouri, and the band Tartanic was playing, who are now good friends of ours. And we were just really inspired by what they were doing and thought John was lamenting that he was losing his chops, his bagpipe chops, because he'd just been playing rock riffs with Mother Grove. He's like, I'm going to get back into competition because I'm losing my competition status, piping. He was just losing it. And I'm like, well, I've been missing drums. I've been a drummer since I was 17. And it's like, I'd really like to get back playing drums. It's like, why don't we just do something like this? You could play all of your traditional piping stuff. I could get back into drumming. And I looked at Lauren, my wife, who was standing next to me. I was like, I can teach you how to play drums. She was like, I've never played drums in my life. I was like, but you are an Irish dancer. What you do with your feet, you can do with your hands just as easily. And so I just taught her some rudimentary stuff, and we got together in our little town home in Indianapolis, much to the delight of the 7 children that live next door, who we thought, because we go to our neighbors and be like, look, it's bagpipes and drums. If you want us to stop, we'll stop, but we're just going to play. And if you don't like, and they're like, yeah, that's cool, man, whatever. So then we found out that they were like standing out on their back patio listening to us. And the kids were like, they turned all their video games off and they were dancing around in the house. And so we were like, all right, cool. So, if you're playing music that doesn't really annoy the neighbors, you must not suck. So we got together and just started playing, and the idea was, we were supposed to be Mother Grove's opening act. We were going to book shows, 2 bands, double dip, same festival. We did one festival like that and was like, nope, too much work. We were dying by the end of the night. But that one festival we played, we just blew up. And somebody begged us to play a Renaissance festival. It is actually Alba Garrison, and I have to give them a shout out because they are instrumental in this. They're a Scottish reenactment group from Missouri, Alba Garrison, and they actually the fair couldn't afford to even get us to the fair, much less pay us. So Alba Garrison made sure that we got paid and got our gas and stuff covered while we were out there, and got us to their fair because they liked us so much. And it was that festival that everything just exploded. Like everything exploded. We're still kind of playing catch up years later, but it started as a side project that was supposed to be something that John could get his pipe jollies out. I could get my drum jollies out. We could have some fun together, and it took off. It just so happened that Mother Grove was starting to wane at that point. Certain members had other obligations, and they just like anything that's together for 20 years, it eventually just kind of just kind of slowly happened. But it was like, oh, I'm on this canoe and it's got a leak in it, and oh, here's this brand new canoe coming the other way. I'm gonna hop into this one. That's basically all it was. And it was just this transition that happened between being a singer, songwriter, frontman, guitar player to whatever Angus is, a drummer, bard thing.
That's cool.
If you went back 10 years ago and said, "Oh, hey, Brad, this is what you're going to be doing musically for a living," I would be like, "You, sir, are crazy."
Yeah.
Here we are.
So you went from that one festival to now how many are in the circuit that you guys do?
Oh, it varies. We do, I think there's 6 that we've been doing pretty consistently from April through October. And now we're starting to even do some stuff in the wintertime. So
that's awesome. That's so cool.
It
I
is
love
very.
that, like, no, here's your new path. This is the way you go now.
Yeah. I think it's just a byproduct of living your life wide open, just being open to experiences and open to whatever life throws at you. Just do it. And that's what I've done. And my wife, thankfully, is on the same page. And we just kind of, we live for the experience. And when you live for the experience and you live with your arms wide open and your eyes wide open, as if to embrace everything, then everything comes to you. Mm-hmm. It's the old MacGyver. I don't know if you remember MacGyver. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. He always said, you never like to have a plan that was too tight, because if your plan is too tight, if one thing goes wrong, the whole thing falls apart. So I've always lived by the MacGyver rule. I just don't keep my plans loose.
Yeah.
Nice. So at the beginning of your answer, I started chuckling, and it had nothing to do with your response. It has more to do with my squirrel brain, and because you kept saying the word Piper, and all I could think of was, so I married an axe murderer, and kept waiting for you to yell Piper down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
What's that?
Did I just get stuck in my head, and all of a sudden, that's all I was hearing the whole time you were talking was, "We've got a Piper down."
See, and that's the problem of being a Scottish character, is that I actually had 3 little old ladies from Glasgow, Scotland, were in the show, and they came up to me afterwards. And they said, "You were trying to figure out where you're from. You can't figure out your accent. Now, a friend you think you're from Edinburgh, but it sounds more like a Highland accent. And it wasn't really truly different out from the Isles." They were going on and on trying to figure out what part of Scotland I was from. And I just let them go and go and go and go. And I said, "They want to know the truth?" And they said, "Oh, aye. I'm from the Highlands of Indianapolis." They just couldn't believe that. But the thing was, and this goes back to what you were saying about the Mike Myers thing. She actually mentioned that. She said the reason that the accent was so convincing is because I was able to do it very conversationally, and it wasn't just during these broad displays of brogue. And she said, like Mike Myers, his is very. It's a very caricature Scottish accent, where mine's very natural and flowing. And that was the biggest compliment I had ever received about my acting and my Scottish accent, was from 3 little ladies from Glasgow, who actually gave me their seal of approval.
That's nailing it, if you ask me.
Now, and Outlander has been the absolute best thing for Scotsmen, because before Jamie Fraser, I was either Shrek or Mike Myers or Fat Bastard. Like, it was one of those three, and none of those are real flattering characters. Or Groundskeeper Willie was another one he used to get a lot.
But Jamie Fraser. Jamie is a flattering
Fraser, right? Oh, and there's nothing better than a lass that will just walk up to me and like her eyes are like this big, and she's like, "Is that accent real?" And and I just look at her and I give her a wink and I go, "Do you want it to be?" They just turn and walk away. They can't even do it.
Nice.
I'm not melting over here.
Can't even. They don't want it to be. And I go, and the other thing I go, "Oh, then a fast lass." I know all of the Outlanderisms, all the Gaelic. Trust me.
Use them all.
Once you see how the women react to it, you won't do it all the time. I'm not gonna lie.
So in preparation
as a woman currently struggling with Droughtlander, I understand.
Right.
Nice. So in preparation for today, I went and listened to a lot of your music on Apple Music. So if you see a spike in traffic, you're welcome. But
thank you for the 4 cents. I appreciate it.
I do my utmost to help. But I have a lot of questions about your music and your style of music now, because I'll be honest with you, up until becoming friends with John and Kathleen a couple years back, I was not familiar with, even though I'm Irish and I know that, there's bagpipes and there's, this type of stuff. I really didn't listen to a lot of music that contained bagpipes. And so I have questions. Like, how do you personally classify your music? I mean, other than calling it like bagpipe rock, because I know that that's not the official title of this, but I've also never heard bagpipes sound so freaking cool either, because 9 times out of 10 when I hear bagpipes, I want them to stop.
Because you never heard a good piper.
Right. It sounds like a bunch of strangulated cats.
It's usually a very, very slow Amazing Grace.
Yeah. And painful. But I was listening to your guys' song, Twilight of the Thunder God, and I kept waiting for you guys to go into Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
And he plays that. He can play the whole thing. He does. Let me tell you something about John Holland. He is a machine. He can play anything. And when I say anything, it goes in his ear and then just comes out. Like he literally could play anything. He did. We were working on his bagpipe drone microphones, and so I was like, you just need to play and keep playing, don't stop until I get you dialed in. And he played Lady Gaga, he played Rod Stewart, he played the Star Wars theme, he played Thunderstruck, and then he played the Speedway gas station jingle. That was all of the shit that was going on in his head.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, shite.
Either way.
Either way.
But yeah, it just goes. He's just a. We could right now. The three of us could create an instrument that no one has ever played before, and give it to John Holland, and in an hour he'll have it mastered. Like, that's awesome. He's a genius. So like, it's funny you mentioned the Thunderstruck thing, because he does do stuff like that randomly.
I was listening to your, like I said, I was just going through your music, and I was listening to that while I was looking at other things, and I was doing some house cleaning, and I just kept letting it roll and play. And like I said, typically any other time in my life I've heard bagpipes, I'm like, and done. Because it's either been horribly played or played in jest.
True enough. Yeah.
And so it's not really given any type of attention, I think. But I think it was with your guys' music the first time this is honestly the first time I've honestly gone, that actually sounds really good. And I don't actually mind it, because when she told me that her daughter goes to sleep by listening to your guys' music, I was like, do you hate her? There's bagpipes. What the hell?
is she okay? Like,
Right,
okay.
exactly. It's like, I'm like, can you put your daughter on camera, please? Blink twice if you're okay.
She was born to that music too.
So,
well, there's the in utero picture where like her first show.
Yeah.
So
well, what was so funny is after that show, you asked me what she thought of it. I'm like, she fell asleep. She legitimately went from moving around like crazy to out.
It's like our music, like it soothes children, but there's like I'd like to see the curve of where puts children to sleep to makes adults angry. There's like where is that? where is that? At what age? Like where's the cross there? Where it's like sleepy time, I want to pillage.
You know what's funny though is we're hitting the 3 age, and so we are going from bagpipes being relaxing and to she went to Ren Fair, and all of a sudden it's the whoa.
There we go. So now we have a little bit of empirical evidence.
A little bit. It's starting to get there. So as we've been talking about, yes, she falls asleep to bagpipes and drums. It's crazy. But she's mine. I expect her to be crazy.
It's a very common story.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to know that she's not that weird.
Right.
She's your daughter. She's still weird.
Oh, yeah, she's totally still weird.
She's adorable, but she's weird.
Well, I mean...
It happens. But when we were just in Hollygrove and we talked about Storytime with Angus, you mentioned a potential remaster of the Storytime with Angus?
I'm thinking about it. I'm really proud of Storytime with Angus because I did it 100% myself in my studio. I did all the effects and all the stuff, and I thought it turned out really well. Mm-hmm. But after working with our producer who produced Steve Lesko from the band Crossbow, he produced our last 3 CDs. He's actually an audio engineer, like for cinema, so he knows how to do magic essentially with audio. And there's actually some of his work on Tribe on the new CD. I won't spoil anything, but
I'm waiting for my pre-order.
Yeah, we're waiting for him to come back. They should be here at this house in the next few weeks, and then we ship them out. But on the new CD, he worked some of his audio magic. So like if you listen to it on headphones, and there's some cinematic, really cool stuff in there that he did. But it got me to thinking. I was like, this is what you do, Steve. I was like, let's re-record. Let's do a proper story album where we actually have, where it actually sounds like you're listening to, like, you remember the old book and records, that you used to listen to, and all the facts and all the characters and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about doing that over the winter. I have a whole bunch of projects that I want to do in the winter, so we'll see which one gets done first. Yeah. But that was just something that I thought about doing, and actually pressing CDs and selling them, selling them through the site. But it's just one of the other irons that I have in the fire.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
If you end up doing that, are you going to add more Dougal stories? Because everybody loves Dougal.
I will. I probably will. And there was a point in time where I was trying to. I wanted to do all one set where all of the interludes between the songs were all Dougal jokes or Dougal stories. And I want to create the Dougal character. I want to flesh him out. It's like Brocknar. I want to flesh out Brocknar character. Like, I have a story called How Brocknar Saved Yule. It's a whole Christmas story. Oh. And I want to record that and release it at Yule. But I have a comic book artist who wants to make a comic book out of Brocknar. So we're talking about doing that. And I've got a dice game that I created, and I'm going to market that as a Pictus dice game because I started playing it and everybody loves it. Another iron in the fire. You guys are getting a bunch of exclusive stuff here.
I will totally buy a Pictus dice game. Yes, please. And I will use that as another excuse to buy another set of dice, which I don't really need, but I want.
Yeah, because Dice Girl needs more.
Right. Well, I have to fill my custom dice too.
Oh, I have to fill my giant dice bag. Why not?
Right. We're going to have the dice. They're all it's 5 6-sided dice, and three of them, one will have a bagpipe, one will have a drum, and one will have a pair of dance shoes. And so there's five. So it's essentially like the 4 or 5. I'd have to explain the rules of the game to know why those are on there, but
I will totally buy it.
it's basically you roll, and you have to get the band. You have to get all 3 band members, and then once you get all 3 band members, then you score points by rolling for songs. So you get the band, and then you have songs, and then you roll the rest of the dice, and those are your points. So the band unlocks the songs, and then you roll the dice, and then
that sounds fun.
You can make your own rules up with it. There's how you can make house rules. You can have it could be a drinking game. It could be a gambling game. You could just make it. It's once you get the core concept, you can create it however you want to create it.
I'm sensing a Kickstarter in your future.
A drinking game.
Yeah, the drinking. We always played as a drinking game because it's absolutely hilarious as a drinking game. But it's fun just to play. But yeah, I'm working with some leather workers to make a leather ice bag that folds open into a tray, so you can just have the whole thing and carry the laminated instructions with you. Anyway, I'm getting too detailed.
Oh, it's totally fine.
Sounds great.
It's exciting. Now, because you're expressing that one more, and then as we put the video up, you're going to have to make sure that is one of the irons in your fire that you actually continue with.
Right. I realize now that I'm saying this on record.
Congratulations on your next iron in the fire. So
right, thank you. Appreciate
it. We are happy to help. That's what we do. So
we will share out a Kickstarter if you start a Kickstarter.
Exactly. You let us know. We'll rock it out there for you. But I also started following you and your wife's Instagram page called Spirits and Shenanigans. And frankly, anything with the word shenanigans in it, I'm probably going to pay close attention to. But honestly, it's a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. It seems like a really fun page. And based on what I saw on the Instagram page, I would also say that you guys seem like a fun couple to stop by and have a pint with. But I'm curious where the idea to do this Instagram page came from, and what has been your favorite stop so far?
I have 7 Instagram accounts. It's stupid. I love it because it's such a succinct platform. It's like, here's my image. I have to tell you a story, so it has to be compelling. And there's not a lot of crap. There's not a whole bunch of verbiage. The comments are hidden by default. And I like the platform. And of course, it's probably going to change now that I like it. But I started doing Instagram, like non-personal Instagram accounts. I started one for our backyard. I call it the Hoots Gourd, and it's evolved into like a gardening blog kind of a thing. It's just is what it is. But Spirits and Shenanigans ended up over quarantine. Lauren works from home, and she was in her office, and of course all our gigs got canceled. So I was blessed with the gift of time, which is how I lost all the weight. But I wanted to start mixing cocktails. So I said, all right, Lauren, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do happy hour. Like, you tell me when you're going to get off work, and I'll have a cocktail ready for you. I wanted to practice making cocktails. So I just dove in all the cocktail blogs, all of the cocktail, all the YouTube shit, everything. And I just got really into it and bought a whole bunch of liquor and a whole bunch of real specialized crap that I used once. But started taking pictures of. I was like, oh, we got to take pictures of these. So I started taking pictures, and the pictures started coming out really good. And I was like, I should just make an Instagram account for all these cool things. Like, people are going to want to, and then I could follow other mixologists and then learn even more. So the idea was start it, see what happened. And then Lauren and I like to go to breweries too. So we just started doing breweries and started doing, it was like, oh, well, let's put this on Spirit because we don't have enough shenanigans on Spirits and Shenanigans. So we started doing brewery stops on there, and then it just became a thing.
All right. So where's been your favorite stop along the way? You said you started going to these breweries and other places. What's been your favorite place?
Well, our local, which is our the place we go to all the time, our lifetime Mug Club members, is Fenton Winery and Brewery,
Nice.
in Fenton, Michigan. We absolutely adore that place. The staff is amazing. The owners are really involved in the community, and they're just upstanding, pillars of the community. Good people, good staff, amazing food, and fantastic brews and wines too. That's our favorite place. As far as outside of that, man, there's been so many really cool breweries I've been to. Books and Brews in Indianapolis is really cool. It's a used bookstore in the front and a brewery in the back.
Ooh.
And they have tabletop games, and it's a place for people without a place. It's for all of the geeks and musicians and board gamers, and all the outliers of society can go and actually have a beer, so they're not relegated to a library or a coffee shop. Now they have this really cool place to go. That's as far as concept and really comfortable place to go. The Books and Brews is awesome. They're in Indianapolis, and they have several locations all over Indiana. But Michigan brews, there's so many of them.
There are a lot of Michigan brews.
Just too many. So yeah, I do like Founders, and I do like Bell's, of course.
Sure.
I like Eagle Monk Brewery. As a smaller brewery, and I don't remember where any of these places are, because I don't drive to them, and I don't drive home from them, so I don't remember where they are.
Eagle Monk is in Lansing.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm like, I know the name.
And we've been to a couple in Lansing because we volunteered at a cat shelter there, and after fair we're going to go back and start doing it again. But we decided, oh, cool, we can spend a day out of the week and go play with cats, and then go to the million breweries that are in Lansing. So that's 50-hour drive from our house.
Done deal.
If you want to take an extra 45 minutes from Lansing, there's a small brew pub in Hastings called Waldorf.
I've never heard of that.
Waldorf.
Wow.
Highly recommend Waldorf. They have their most known is called Bee Sting. So it's kind of a honey beer. It's really good.
That sounds good.
They also do wood-fired pizzas, which is like my favorite.
Oh, dude.
It was.
I do. Yeah.
I grew up in Hastings.
Sounds good.
I grew up in Hastings, but then when we got married, we did our rehearsal dinner was Waldorf pizza, and then we were supposed to get a growler, but they forgot our growler with our rehearsal dinner. So after our wedding, before our reception, we went to Waldorf, full garb. As I'm walking with my big poofy white dress with the, hey, so you forgot my growler. It's like,
I need this now.
Yeah. So we got back to the reception, and my mom comes out of the reception hall, and she's like, where did you go? I'm like, beer. I needed my beer.
Important stuff.
We're getting the supplies.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was also the beer that we drank our entire honeymoon, but we needed our growler. So going from beer to what I promise is my weirdest question. Because there are so many things that I know about you that I could ask about. But because Tim and I are both animal lovers, tell me about your
cats. That doesn't sound creepy at all, by the way.
Right? You already mentioned that you volunteered.
I know so much about you.
It's research, Tim.
I know things you don't even know about yourself.
If I put the little
why are we Batman all of a sudden?
I sound like a stalker.
Exactly.
This isn't the interview you want. This is the interview you deserve.
Exactly.
So no.
Martin and I both had cats independently, like forever. So when we got together, she had 2 cats, I had 2 cats. So we started out with 4 cats, and then when her father passed away, and we took over the house, he had 2 cats, and her mom and sister were like, "Oh, we'll take the other 2 cats." We're like, "No, this is their home. They're, they were 16, 15 at the time. They were old cats. This is their home. They're going to stay here with where they're comfortable." Mm-hmm. We had 6 cats in the house, and then soon after her dad passed, Libby passed because I think she was hanging on for him, and then she passed away, and then we just had, we've just had cats in and out. We had her cats that she's had forever. And then I had my cat Pavlov and my cat Lebowski, and they passed away. And then we just had cats in and out. I know we got Loki now, who just showed up in the backyard one day and decided he lived here. So
that's kind of fun though with cats when they're just like, no, you're my person now.
Right. Well, right. And the thing is he showed up and he's perfectly clean and, well groomed. He had all of his claws, but he was neutered, and he just was super friendly. And we were like, you can't. He tried to get in the house. We're like, no, you can't. We don't know you. We don't know where you've been. We don't know what you have. We have 4 cats in here, 5 cats at the time. And he just kept coming around, and he would be like, are you sure there's not a job opening? Because I'm pretty sure there's a job opening, and I'd like to apply for it, please. You're like, no, dude, we are full up. Everybody's happy, healthy. Just stay outside. We'll feed you. No, well, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a job opening. You might want to consider me for the position. Dude, no, we're full up. We're not hiring right now for cats. 2 weeks later, tank up and dies. Kidney failure. Just died. And so he's like, so yeah, about that job opening. I was like, you, sir, are the harbinger of doom. Get in this house. So,
I live here now.
Right. So he was supposed to be an indoor-outdoor cat, and then we would let him out, and we would let him out to play during the day, and then he'd come in at night. And then one night he didn't come in, and we're like, oh, crap. And then the next night, we opened the door, and he came flying in the house, just and he was limping real bad, and I was like, oh shit, something happened to him. Took him to the vet. He got a hip injury, and the vet said that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is this cat ran for his life. He has no claws left. He ran his claws to the nub. They were bloody nubs. So he had gotten either an owl or a coyote or something chased him outside and probably up a tree because he's a climber. But I guess he didn't want to go outside anymore.
No.
But on the upside, the chipmunk population is exploding. So he was, man, talk about upsetting a delicate ecosystem, man. He was an apex predator.
So we currently have 2 indoor cats and an outdoor cat. The outdoor cat is my mother-in-law's. Her name is Tirza. She's 15 or 16. She's starting to show her age. She's starting to show her age, but gorgeous until in the middle of the night when you go to let the dog out and you think there's a raccoon on the porch and it's just the cat.
Right.
Crap out of me every time. And then we have our 2 indoor cats that are mine and John's. So we have a solid black cat named Nymeria because she thinks she's a direwolf. She's ferocious. And then we have my cat, who's an idiot. But I love him. But he's a tuxedo. His name is Ernest Fitzgerald. And he's frequently just Ernie.
Perfect name.
Well, because all of his siblings are polydactyls. And so I named him after...
cool.
I named him after Ernest Hemingway. He is the only one on the order who is not a polydactyl.
No.
He just has big feet.
That's funny. I saw the polydactyl cats when I was in Key West. There's all over the place down there.
I love them. I love them.
I have one.
Tim has a polydactyl.
Yeah, I have a polydactyl. His name, we call him Seven because he has 7 toes. So
that's funny.
And then he's the leader, who I adore.
Yeah, 7 toes and 8 claws per front paws. So he's got this really weird random claw like in the webbing between the. So technically, it's supposed to be like an 8th toe, but the toe bean didn't form; just the claw kind of came out.
And that's for
crocheting. Yeah, apparently. But speaking of apex predators. Speaking of apex predators, that's what he is. I have never seen a cat hunt as well as this cat does. We used to have we live out in the country, so every once in a while we get in the fall and winter we get the random rodent visitor. Not anymore. That doesn't happen. He's an indoor outdoor cat. He patrols our house. Matter of fact, our neighbor from across the street came over and asked us if we would keep a better eye on him so he would stop feeding at the bird feeder, if you know what I mean.
It's a buffet. Come on, it's right there.
I'm like, hey, you set up the golden corral for him. This is not our fault.
Right. Exactly.
I've seen Tirza do that. I have seen Tirza jump and grab a bird out of the air from the bird feeder.
We had right before the end of times last year, we had one of our friends was pregnant, and they were having a little baby shower at our house. My wife was, her and a couple girlfriends, and all that kind of thing. Just a small group because they knew what was coming and they wanted to make sure it was safe for everybody. So they had this little small socially distanced baby shower, and her friend already has 2 little girls. Seven decided that he was going to give them a gift and bring the dead bird that he had killed and dropped it in the middle of the deck, right in the middle of everybody, in front of the 2 little girls, as the bird is squawking for its life. And they're like, and the oldest is like, "Is he killing the bird?" I'm like, "No, he's just playing aggressively." Yeah, it was dead. So yeah, that's 7 though. He's our hunter. Then we have Vader, who's all black, very fat, and has a white box on his chest. He's a bit of a butthead, so we call him Vader. So,
nice.
But he's an adorable butthead.
Yeah, he has chosen me as his human. So when I walk in the door, he meow barks at me until I come pay attention to him.
Yeah, I have one like that too. I call him my familiar.
That would be Ernie for me. He hears my bedroom door open in the middle of the night, and he follows, or he'll run down the hallway to me and then figure 8 between my feet as I'm trying to walk down the hallway. It's like, seriously, dude? I'm going to fall and die. It's your fault.
Yeah, that's what Vader does. He tries to dodge between my feet. And I'm like, first off, you're too fat for this. Secondly, stop. Because he's going to get me one of these days. I just know it.
Ernie tries to like sit in my pants while I'm on the toilet.
Yeah.
There is no personal space with this cat. He's currently somewhere in my room. I have no idea where he is, but I know he's in here.
Yeah, understood. All right. So, Brad, being of Irish descent, we talked about this a little bit already, but I respect the kilt. I've always kind of wanted one. In fact, while I was listening to your music and helping you gain that 4 cents from Apple, I may have done some kilt shopping because I think it would be awesome to have one. And I keep looking at them and trying to convince myself to buy one. Yeah. Also because Kathleen's husband, John, has a couple, and I see them, wearing them, and I'm like, so I've been kind of jealous of them for some time. So I have a 2-part question here for you. Number 1, where do you get your kilts? And number 2, what are the typical questions or statements that people toss your way whilst wearing the kilt?
I get my kilts from all over the place. I have a couple of kilts from Scotland, and a couple of kilts from Got Kilt there in Frankenmuth. The kilts that I like to wear on stage and typically just anywhere because they're comfortable are called sport kilts, and they're washable. They hang really well. They've open Velcro, real easy to get on and off. They look great. You can upgrade them. I just ordered a second one because after the weight loss, I had to order another kilt. But I've worn them. The one that I had was the very first kilt that I bought for Pictus. So, and I've had it ever since, and it's never faded after all the washes.
Oh, nice.
That sport kilts are really nice. They're made for people who just want to wear a kilt and not have to go through all the bulk. They still look good. They don't look cheap. So I'm a big fan of sport kilts. If you can't get like because a lot of times you don't want to wear those like full wool kilts from Scotland or from wherever are really heavy. Like their weight, they weigh a lot. And when I'm jumping around on stage, I can't be in a big, heavy wool kilt like that.
Sure.
So the sport kilts are really nice. As far as, of course, the most common thing people ask is, what are you wearing under your kilt? Well, there's a myriad of responses that you can have for that, depending on your audience. Someone says, well, what do you wear under your kilt? The G-rated answer is my boots, or dad joke answer. I wear my boots under my kilt because, and if we move into the more body section, sometimes if it's if it's a lass that's asking me, I'll say, on a good day, lipstick. And until that got me in trouble once. So I don't do that anymore. Don't say that one anymore. If it's a gentleman, I'll either say your ma's lipstick or your wife's lipstick or whatever. What are some of the other ones we used to say? I forget. There's a bunch of them, and I forget what we used to say. A lot of times I'll get, especially, it doesn't happen at Ren Fair, but it happens at like Irish Fest and Scottish Fest where like everybody is tanked all the time. I'll get like women asked to look under my kilt or grab my kilt, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So fair is fair. If you get to do that, then I get to do something. You get to pick what it is, And I'm like, you don't like that. And I'm like, see, you don't like it. Just because I'm a guy doesn't mean that there's any different standards at play here. But they don't like it when I flip it back around to them. Like,
just because I'm wearing a kilt doesn't mean I consent.
Right, exactly. And it's like, you're wearing a skirt. I mean, what's the difference? It's like, that goes back to how you're dressed. You're asking for it. No. That, I see a guy with a football jersey. I don't run and tackle him. Sorry, he was clearly asking for it. Look how he was dressed. He clearly wanted to play football.
That all depends on what team he's wearing.
True enough. Or what number, because if it's a quarterback, then I get penalized for sacking the quarterback.
There you go.
For roughing the quarterback.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, people are actually pretty respectful. I mean, the only time it really gets, is when there's alcohol involved, and that's
well, that's just lowered inhibitions at that point.
Yeah but
okay, cool.
All right, so we have touched on a lot of different topics. I know there are a lot of things we've talked about. So what do you do to help rejuvenate your creative side? What do you do in your free time, if and when you actually have any free time?
I do have actually a lot of free time, especially like once Pictus is sailing, kind of goes on autopilot because I kind of do everything every day. In the wintertime, I work on the website, and there's always sense for I'm basically running a business and a band. But I do have some free time, and I do like to. My wife just bought me a turntable. So I'm really into vinyl. So I've been listening to a lot of vinyl. And I honestly get more inspired by being outside. Like I'll go outside and just go for a walk or just go sit outside with a notebook or whatever and just write and get ideas and then I'll get a spark. Yeah, it's I actually find myself getting inspired by like my artist friends and my musician friends, like because they're like attainable. They're like, I can call them and say, how did you do this? Or, and then there's just this really cool thing of like having so many friends who are so talented, and that I find myself getting inspired by the people that are closest to me rather than the entertainment world at large, because they're attainable and they're personal. The inspiration seems very human and personal when I do that. So, it's just like I said earlier, what Adolphus Bush said, you surround yourself with beautiful things and you'll make beautiful things. And it's the same way with friends. You have friends who make beautiful things and they inspire you to make beautiful things. So yeah, I'm just really blessed and really, really lucky to have so many awesome people in my life to inspire me personally. So
nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
All right. So I'm sure you're of the right age. You'll remember this. George Thorogood once sung a song that talked about one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. So in your professional opinion, I'd like for you to give, as parting advice, professional recommendations for a bourbon, a scotch, and a beer.
Sweet. I just recently got into bourbons, but I do like Basil Hayden as a bourbon. If I'm going to sip a bourbon, it's going to be Basil Hayden. I like Jack Daniel's single barrel. If I'm making an old fashioned or if I'm mixing a drink, I like Old Granddad. I know it sounds weird, but it's a really solid bourbon that has a very neutral profile that works really well in bourbon drinks.
All right.
My beer, man, I like a lot of different beers. Oh wait, Scotch. Let's go to Scotch because
Scotch.
Man, I've had so many different kinds of Scotches. Every age, every region. I really like the Isla malts. I really like the malts from the Isles, Highland Park and Lagavulin. But
Ooh, nice.
if I had to name my favorite Scotch that just always gives me the feels, no matter as soon as I pop the cork, is Lafroig. There's something about Lafroig, and then someone gave us. We performed for their wedding years ago, and they gave us as a gift Lafroig Triple Wood, and that's become the official Scotch of Pictus.
Oh
yes, please.
It's absolutely brilliant. And so, like, if like anytime we get a bottle of Lafroig Triple Wood, it's the band Scotch. I recently got a bottle from my best friend in Indianapolis for my 50th birthday this a couple of weeks ago. A bottle of Highland Park that was one of the only whiskeys that was actually aged and created for a United States market. They only made like 280 some odd bottles of this, so it's rare and it's beautiful whiskey. You can taste the sea air in it from being an Isla, and it's just earthy and salty and just it's beautiful. So I've been drinking that and sharing that with my friends. My beer, it all depends on the season. If I'm like right now, I'm really into Shorts Locals Light. It's a light, robust light beer. In the summertime, I like pilsners and lagers and ales. I really like Kolsch's. So my favorite summer, like that's so it's usually seasonal for me. And then, but I also really like stouts and porters. A perfectly poured pint of Guinness in Ireland might have been my perfect beer. When I was in Ireland, was at the Gravity Bar and was hanging out, and they do the thing where they'll like teach you how to pour a pint. So I did the whole pint thing.
Yeah.
I'm behind the bar with the bartenders. You're shooting the shit. There was maybe 5 people in the bar at the time. And we were just hanging out, and we're just pouring them and setting them aside, pouring them and setting them aside. He's like, all right, try again. Try it this way. And I tried, pour them, set it aside. Next thing you know, the elevator doors open, and it was a whole tour group that was coming in that they weren't expecting. And he looked at me. He's like, can you help me pull pints? And I was like, damn right, I can help pull pints. So like all these tourists thinking that I'm like a bartender, and I'm pouring them pints. And a lot of them aren't even taking their pints. They don't even want them. So they get a free pint. So they'll put the thing down and pour the pint. And then they're like, you want this? Do you want that? No. So then we just set them aside. That tour group goes away. So now I'm sitting in the Gravity Bar in St. James Gate in Dublin at the Guinness factory with nothing but bartenders. And I like, what do you guys do with all these pints? He looked at me, he's like, what do you think we do with them? I just start drinking pints. I'm like, I am never going to get this fresh. So I probably had 6 pints, like of the freshest Guinness in the world. And then my tour group had already left. The bus was gone. They had already left. And I was like, I'll catch up with you. So I walked back to my hotel from wherever I was in Dublin all the way back. So yeah, that was probably my favorite beer.
You know, it's funny. Yeah. My mom and my brother went to Ireland in 2013. And that was the first thing Fred said, too, was the Guinness tastes so much different over there. It's so much better there. It doesn't travel well. I'm like,
it does not. Nope. And it doesn't get made the same.
we get Guinness here and we're like, oh, it's Guinness, it's good. No, it's nothing compared to there.
A good pint of Guinness at an Irish pub that knows how to maintain their nitrate system and keep their lines clean, you can get a really, really, really good pint of Guinness. But it's the same with Budweiser. I don't drink Budweiser. I don't drink Budweiser in Michigan. But you know where I will drink Budweiser? Downtown St. Louis. It's a completely different beer. All that beer comes right from the brewery and goes right straight to those restaurants. And it's fresh. And Budweiser, fresh and cold, is a completely different beer.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. I would have never thought I'd be saying that, but
because it's Budweiser.
Yeah.
Because it's Budweiser. But I'm not at all even remotely jealous about your trip to Ireland at all.
That was like 04, so like I
it could have been 1974. I'd still be jealous. That doesn't matter.
It was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty cool.
See, and I totally agree that favorite beers are seasonal. Like you don't drink a dark beer in this. I mean, I'll totally drink a dark beer in the summer, but that's not what you go for in the summer.
Right.
In the summer, you go for a shandy. You go for a lighter, like the
some refreshing.
Yeah, like the summer shandy is delicious. It's great. It's a lemonade beer.
Beer mimosas, man. Beer mimosas are the way. You ever done that? Half beer, half orange juice. Ooh, you put a little peach schnapps in there. That wouldn't kill you.
I have never tried that. And now
I'm going to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just and the shittier the beer, the better.
We used to make a drink called Skip and Go Naked, which was the crappiest vodka you could find mixed with the crappiest beer you could find, and you put lemonade in it and you stir it all up. And it was called that because after about 3 glasses, that's really what you wanted to go do, was just, skip and go naked, because you didn't give a crap about anything else.
I could see that.
Yeah. So you get like those, like the big, like the little league baseball teams, they have those little drink pitchers, where you can take the cup up and you get your drink out of it. Yeah, you take one of those, you pour in a fifth of the crappiest, cheapest vodka you can find, like Heaven Hill. Okay. Pour that in, get your Busch Light, your Natty Light, whatever. Take a 6-pack of that, pour that in. Take a can of 2 cans of frozen lemonade, mix those in, stir it all up, and then throw in ice and just fill it up.
That sounds horrendous.
It sounds like a frat party.
It sounds like you're not going to work tomorrow. That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like delicious vomit.
Exactly. It can be.
Oh goodness. Well, on that note.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. We going back to music. I'm finally going to record a solo CD here, probably in November or December. I've got notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of songs that I don't have anything to do with. And I met an amazingly talented musician and recording artist in Kentucky who happens to love my music and wants to help me record. So we're going to get together and finally record a solo CD that I'm trying to do for 20 years.
Awesome. Nice.
That'll be on Brad's. I'll have there's bradsprauer.com right now is where it'll be. So, and I'll probably throw it up on Angus as well, or maybe Pictus, just because of the reach. But that won't be for a few months. I have another Ren Fair act that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
So Pictus is fine though.
I'm always intrigued by more Ren Fair acts.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off the record, but yeah.
Definitely, for sure. All right. So I think that's actually all that we have. That's all of our questions. But do you want to give us the rest of your links so that our viewers can find you and everything that you've done, which is a ridiculous amount of stuff? Certainly.
Pictus can be found at pictusmusic.com. Mother Grove is at mothergrove.com. And Angus, Storytelling with Angus, is on Bandcamp. So if you go to the Bandcamp website and just search for Angus, which is Oengus, it'll come up right at the top, Storytime with Angus, or you could Google Storytime with Angus and it'll pop up there too. But that's just download only. And what else? I have my Angus.net, oengus.net that you can get my storytelling stuff from there, or Angus' storytelling stuff from there as well. And I think that's it. There's BradSprauer.com. So
are you still doing Bard for Hire through Angus?
I haven't really started that yet. Okay. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with that. I was going to do something like that for the winter time. I haven't really honed it, and now I'm not sure if I'm going to because of this other Ren Fair project. So, cool. But we'll see. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen.
Let's see how many hats you can wear at the same time.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, this one right here. This is one of my favorite ones. Hats. Since we're talking hats, I just have another hat here.
Ooh.
You like that?
That is a good one.
Nice.
So you know what the story with this hat is? I used to wear it on stage with Mother Grove, and people started giving me things to put in the hat. And so it's just full of people giving me things for the hat. So it's full of all my travels.
That's cool.
It's like my travel. Has so many stories.
Awesome.
Memories.
That's cool, man.
You said hat, and there was one right there.
You did. That's totally great.
Johnny on the spot, man.
All right, so I am going to make sure that we link all of your places. There's
Thank
so many.
you. Yeah, talking about it, I didn't even realize it. It's just I just do this stuff, and then when I actually have to say it out loud, it's like I do a bunch of stuff. I don't even realize it until I have to list it. I appreciate you guys, though.
Yeah, I got tired just listing them all out. I was like, oh, where do you find the time? I got exhausted.
Well, I look good on paper, so there's that.
There's that. Subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests here like Brad or Angus, depending on which direction you want to take this, and great conversations that go all over the place for you to listen to. Please subscribe. It's going to help more than we can ever really tell you. And be sure to check out all those many plethora of locations that you can find out more information about Brad and Angus on. There's a ton of stuff out there for you guys to be able to enjoy the content that he's creating. Now, remember, kids, pop culture, it's all around you. It's influencing your each and every step. Be sure to come back next week because we'll have your next fix waiting right here for you.
And thanks again, Brad.
It's been a ton of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Copyright 2024 FSF Podcast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.